So, hello and welcome. Hello and welcome to the next edition of the Data Lift Summit prequel. The Data Lift Summit is going to happen in June in Berlin at the Factory Berlin in Görlitzer Park. It's from 22nd to 24th of June. And the prequel, as usual, is to introduce topics and to introduce the speakers that we will have there. My name is Chris Armbruster. I am the Director Data Career at the AI Guild. And with me today is Kai Martinen, who is a consultant AI engineering at Data Drivers. Hello, Kai.
Thanks for having me. Hi.
Hello, Kai. So I just introduced you and said consultant AI engineering. So my first question really is, how did you get there? How did you get into your data career?
Well, I started, of course, in my studies. So my bachelor's, I tried to focus a bit on AI. Get the first bug, so to say. Did my bachelor thesis on recommender systems, and then I wanted to study master with the possibility to focus on AI, but also a bit on software engineering. And this is basically where I specialized in. So the software engineering part and the AI part, bringing AI things into production.
What kind of master did you do?
I did a simple computer science master
Okay.
in Hamburg, which was very very fun. But and the idea was that you can basically choose every course yourself. You're not very restricted there, and I was able to choose AI and software engineering classes to go along and to focus on what I wanted to do there. Yeah.
Okay. I also know by looking at your LinkedIn profile that you were working while you were studying. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I started working basically my last bachelor semester, and I continued doing so during my master's. And in those, I think 2.5 years it was, I was able to look into different projects. First project I had was a simple software engineering project, so where I basically learned how to code. And then I was able to get into an innovation lab which focused on data-related topics, AI and machine learning, which also coincided with my master at the time. So I was able to get the theory from the university and apply it at these projects, which was really fun. And got me specialized in this field.
Cool. So you were working while studying, and I know that people have this question on their mind, what to do while studying. And I wanted to ask you, what you did, was it an internship? Were you a working student? Did you get paid? How did this work for you formally?
Yes, I was a working student. So as a working student in Germany, you're allowed to work 20 hours a week for a company. And I think during the semester break, you can work as much as you like. And so that's what I basically did for the 2.5 years. I was working while studying. And besides earning me a bit a bit of money to afford living in Hamburg, I was able to get a lot of insights into different aspects of programming, software engineering, and of course data science and AI.
Understood. And you also mentioned, just to be sure, that the master thesis that you did was then a collaboration, so to speak, of you with the company that you were working for and your university.
No, that was really independent. Wasn't a
Okay.
collaboration at all. I just applied in Hamburg because I'm originally from here. I went down to Freiburg to do my bachelor's and came back to do the master's here. And I basically applied at my former company to work there, and did it independently besides my master thesis then.
Cool. Thank you very much. So now I would like to go one step further. You're now working for Data Drivers, and you've been doing
Sure.
so for the past year. Did all of that, what you did with your studies, the fact that you were working on the side, your master thesis, how was that relevant for finding this role?
So during my master thesis and also afterwards, I decided, or I felt like what I really wanted to do as a role and as a job, so to say, was to focus on bringing AI proof of concepts into production. So because what I experienced was that you can do a lot of cool stuff in university, and of course also at different companies you can find use cases, but yeah, it's nice to see, but it doesn't it's hard to bring it into a production environment. And making it work in a proof of concept doesn't mean that it's applicable in daily business. So, and making that transition, that was what I got interested in, especially during the last year of my master's and when I started working full time. And what I also started doing then. And yeah, data drivers offered me the opportunity to do that here.
Okay, so tell us a bit more about the opportunity. So what are you doing? What's your company like?
Yeah, so the company is it's about 6 years old now. We have about 40 to 50 people working in different projects here in Hamburg and the surrounding area. And we mostly do data projects, so data engineering, building cloud platforms, and so on. And what I was interested in doing was, extending my experience in the cloud. So I had previous previous experience with AWS. So Data Drivers offered me the opportunity to also do something with Google Cloud. Which we also did in this project.
Okay, so one of the interesting things for you is actually get more familiar with the forms that are being used to deploy machine learning.
Yes, being able to deploy machine learning on these big platforms makes it possible to scale up proof of concepts very fast. So they already have the technology available, like for example at AWS, I think it's Glue for Google Cloud Platform. You can use Dataflow to process a lot of data distributedly in a very fast way. And also provide they have the services to execute machine learning models in a near real-time way. So
understood. I think our audience would be very interested to hear if you have comparative observations. So if you've been using both, Google Cloud and AWS, how do they compare for you? Are there advantages, disadvantages, things you would particularly recommend?
So for me now, having learned what it's like to work on Google Cloud, I think one of the key aspects that I found better in Google Cloud was the integration, for example, of Dataflow, so Apache Beam and TensorFlow. This is something that we actively used, and this helped us a lot in scaling from, so to say, from a small data set into to using all the data that we need and had available.
Okay, so a plus on the Google side is that the system is better integrated.
Yeah.
It allows
you. Of course, because Google is developing TensorFlow actively. They are integrating it with the tools they use themselves and providing this on Google Cloud Platform. I haven't had a comparative case on AWS because we mostly did POCs there. But I have not come across a similar solution yet.
Understood. Something that we've all noticed over the past years is that these platforms are increasingly offering certification. So they're kind of like courses that you can do and test, and then you get certified and so on and so on. How's that for you? Do you think does it make sense? Do you feel the need to do this? Are you doing it?
I haven't done it for AWS, so I was self-taught, so to say. I had a couple colleagues who did already a bit with AWS and who introduced me to the core concepts, and then I basically taught myself. For Google, it's the same way around, but I'm in the process of doing the professional architect certificate.
Okay, so and how meaningful is that for you? What does it mean? What do you get out of it?
For me, it's a great way to get a complete overview of the platform, because what I want to do is I want to build systems that use the best services that work in the best way, and of course do it, of course, in a safe, with the security aspect in mind, and having the complete overview of the platform services, how to build and run systems there is an additional knowledge that I will and am gathering at the moment, while also working with the data products like Dataflow, Vertex AI platform, and so on.
Okay, cool. So I've been asking you a lot of questions about your career and your company and these platforms.
Sure.
I appreciate. I mean, one of the other reasons actually that we're speaking today was that you'll be a speaker at the Data Lift Summit in about 6 weeks in Berlin. And there's a title, yeah. So transformer models to forecast customer demand. So let's start. Let's actually start by me asking you. Okay, customer demand, forecast customer demand. What's the case here? What type of customers? What kind of use case are we talking about?
All right. So we did this project in collaboration with our client Chibo. So what we're doing is basically we are trying to forecast the customer demand for the Chibo online shop, and this is done to optimize the logistical processes that come afterwards. So they have a warehouse where they stock all the articles available, or most of the articles available in the online shop. And what we're trying to do is to forecast basically the demand so that the optimal amount of each article can be present at that warehouse to be able to be sold and shipped.
Okay, understood. A question has come in, which
Sure.
I'm going to pick up. We just need to go back for 1 minute. Here is the question also for you to see.
Sure.
So Tom Gatsby is asking, can you speak on the relative merits of Dataflow, Beam, TensorFlow versus other Google products? So inside the Google ecosystem.
Inside the Google ecosystem, I think we also tried BigQuery ML for a short time. I generally, this is only my preference, but I prefer Dataflow and TensorFlow. Dataflow, of course, because you can test it. It's very easy to apply unit tests and integration tests to your Dataflow pipelines. You can decouple it from data reading and data writing. Therefore, mechanically test each step in your data pipeline, and then basically try it out. This is not possible, I think, with BigQuery ML. And this is something that we've then also used for TensorFlow. So our code, which we use to train our transformer model, is unit tested, integration tested. So we are able to see what is being done before and after the data comes into the model, and the same goes for prediction.
Understood. Let's see if we can build a bridge. Not sure. When you were doing this forecasting of customer demand, were you also using the Google system?
We're using the Google Cloud Platform for this. So we're using Dataflow actively to collect all the data that we need, and then have a TensorFlow model in the model registry, which is being used to forecast the demand inside Dataflow. So we're loading the model on each worker, and then do the forecast with Dataflow.
Okay, so let's go back to that. You were actually saying that you have a client for this, which is Chibo,
Yeah.
a coffee and online e-commerce company.
Yes.
For whom you're kind of forecasting customer demand. Okay, so transformer models. Now, I actually stumbled across this because you often hear transformer models in other contexts,
Sure.
but customer demand. So what's going on there?
So yeah, usually you think about transformer models when you do, for example, natural language processing. And what we did was basically research. That's something that my teammates did a lot of. They tried to come up with different models like regression models, XGBoost, and of course the temporal fusion transformer, which we used in the end. And if I remember correctly, we tried out at least the regression models and compared the results to the one that we had with the temporal fusion transformer, and it was far superior. So the temporal fusion transformers, main benefit is that you can combine different kinds of data. So categorical data, real data is it can use all of them, and then you can also extend it, for example, to use embeddings. This is something that is already in the process and an idea of us. So yeah, this is something that we thought was a key benefit of this model. And in addition, we are also able to extract interpretable weights for each feature. So we can basically assume what the model looks at when it makes a prediction.
Cool. You said far superior. Stuck in my mind. Are you able? Are you able? Are you? Are you able to say something about this?
I don't have the data right now in front of me, so
Okay.
I can't give you real data. Yeah, I can't give you real data for that. But we had better results, but we only tried it a short amount of time, so we didn't really spend a lot of time comparing the two models. We tried one out, we tried the other out. The transformer model was better, and so we went with that.
Okay, understood. Okay, so thank you very much for this to date. So obviously, this is part of the Data Lift Summit. So if people like what they're hearing at the moment, they actually have a chance to meet you. I think also to meet members of your team, other members of your team at the Data Lift Summit if they join.
Yeah.
You're going to be giving a presentation. So if I were to come to your talk, what could I expect?
You can expect to see a use case which is being as or the use case that I presented from the use case itself to production. So what I'll be focusing on is not why we chose this and that model. What I'll be focusing on is how did we bring this into production. So the kind of architecture that we used, and also the combination, of course, of our predictions. So Dataflow, Beam, TensorFlow. Why did we choose these technologies to be able to do this project and fulfill the use case?
Cool. So if I come, you would kind of take me through
Yes.
the project and discuss the ins and outs with me and show how it's working. The thing is actively in production.
It will go live in May.
Ah, cool. So you can also report on that then
What
by
it's
the
like
end of
then.
June,
Yes.
how it's doing, how the model is doing in production. Very cool. Kai, thank you very much for this. I think we've covered the relevant ground for today. I really look forward to meeting you in Berlin in a few weeks. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, and look forward to it.